much crap that I just didn't want to deal with. So.
Oh, it's really easy, and thank goodness I did payroll myself, because during the pandemic I was able to pay myself. I mean, get unemployment because of.
Oh, I was too, and an SBA loan. So
Well, yeah, because 1099. Yeah, well, say I got all that stuff. Yeah. But
yeah, the thing is that in California with the AB6, you can't be an independent contractor. That's the challenge. What is it, AB5?
AB5,
You can be, but they whine a lot and they make you jump through all kinds of hoops.
Well, hey,
technically,
that's where it's at.
Technically, a company like WorldStage, for example, WorldStage has been audited and paid a lot of money in fines because of that. And so they're very cautious. So the more some company has gotten in trouble for something or has heard about their friends getting in trouble, the pickier they are about the rules and what they can and can't do in terms of your pay.
Right. Well, Kate told me they've been audited once, and so she's stays real clear of that, and she's the one that said the LLC was fine. But another thing she said, what I thought was interesting, is that if none of your people that you're 1099ing report you, then it doesn't. No, there's no way they find out. Someone has to report a discrepancy or a problem, and then she got audited. But if nobody reports you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that's the whole thing. Who knows who knows, it's like so nebulous out there. And of course, the only reason they care about is to get money out of you. That's all. That's all.
Right. But in our world, if I'm working for, 5 or 6 or 7 production companies that only have, a couple of employees, and I'm one of, like Kenny, 3 or 4 sound guys that works for him, we're not going to rat each other out, for the most part. So, but
you don't know about Kenny, I'll tell you.
But,
so Bruce, let me interrupt you and just plant the seed in your mind. Right. 2 words. Speaking of payroll and speaking of LLCs and versus being paid on payroll as W-2, being paid as an employee, W-2 employee.
Right.
Have you heard of the phrase loan out?
Loan out? No.
Right. Loan out. Have you heard of that?
No.
So in the film industry, it's a very common practice for people that are working on a film set. Some of them work as employees, W-2 employees, but some of them have their own corporations. So they are paid by the payroll company as a loan out. Do a little research on that. I'll just plant the seed. I don't know that much about it, but loan out. But because the reason being that then the payroll company covers your workers' comp, and the payroll company makes sure you get paid in a timely manner, and the company that you're working for has less liability for you as a worker, because as a LLC worker, they have certain liabilities, and as a payrolled worker, they have different liabilities. So it limits their liability because the payroll company takes it over. Anyway, so it's advantageous for both the worker and the company that they're working for. Loan out. Check it out.
Okay. Well, having said that, let's just talk. Welcome everybody to YouTube and Facebook that are watching or going to be watching. You might not be watching live, but you will be watching someday. This is the RoundTable, SoundBroker's RoundTable. It's our 60-second one. I'm coming to you live from Thailand, so we're from all over the world. We want to welcome you all. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Just remember, everything you hear is an opinion. So if you want to make sure that it's fact, you have to do your own research on that. So that's where we are. Let's have a good time. And one of the things that really seems to amaze me right now with COVID, the way it's been, where nobody's working, I can't believe how many people are on vacation. It just seems to me it's like the ultimate job. You go in and you say, hey, look, I want to make $100,000 a year. I want to work 1 hour a day, and I want to have an hour for lunch during that 1 hour I'm working. And so now so many people are on vacation. It just blows my mind that they haven't done any work all year, and now they're on vacation. So it just seems to be something like that. Also,
that'll be next. It might be the syndrome that I felt myself in, which is I said, screw it. I haven't made any money. I haven't got any income, but I need a vacation, so I got to get out of here. So that's me next week. So maybe that's the syndrome that's going around.
Yeah, having said that, here I am in Thailand, and as it gets lighter, I'll open the curtains and you'll see the paradise that I'm really in. This is not one of those blue screens or green screens.
So what time is it there? What time is it there?
Right now it's 5:16 in the morning on
Not bad.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So basically, my whole schedule has been crazy. It's like I go to sleep when I'm tired, and I wake up when I'm not tired, and then I do whatever I have to do, and then when I'm tired, I just take a nap. It's pretty amazing.
So tell us about your jump through hoops to get there during COVID, and what they're now that you've gone through it, you've arrived. What was it all about?
Well, the first thing that I'll say is that I was vaccinated with Moderna back in March, and so I never had any symptoms of COVID, so I never took a COVID test until getting ready to go on this trip. And in the last week, I've had 3 COVID tests. I had one 72 hours prior to getting on the plane. I had one as soon as I arrived. They give you one at the airport to make sure that you can go, and then you're quarantined, and I'll explain that in a second. And then 6 days later, you have another COVID test, and then 12 days later, I'll have another. So within the 2-week period, I'll have had 4 COVID tests. So that's the one thing that they definitely do. To get here, you had to have a certificate of entry, and that required so much logistics and legwork and paperwork and money and insurance and all of this other things that it was really difficult to get here. And not only that, normally when I would fly to Thailand, I would leave Los Angeles, fly to LAX to Hong Kong, which is about a 12-hour flight, and then from Hong Kong just shoot over the water into Bangkok, and the whole thing would take less than a day. Well, with COVID, you cannot fly into Bangkok. As a matter of fact, Bangkok is officially closed down, not only to traffic from outside the country, but internally as well. So if you were flying through Bangkok right now, you would be stuck in Bangkok. You couldn't go anywhere else right now because they consider that a red zone, a hotbed of COVID. So that's something that's really, really frustrating to say the least. So basically what they did was they have this island called Phuket, and it's on the western side of the country, and it's an island, and they said, well, we're going to make it like a sandbox, and you could come in and you can go anywhere you want in the sandbox, but you can't leave for 14 days. What they made me do is I had to stay at the same hotel, which if you ever come to Phuket, I can't recommend this hotel enough. It's called the Twin Palms Phuket. It's really amazing. It's a luxury hotel. It's beautiful, and I'm having a great time. So other than that, here's the benefits. Number one, there's very few people here, so there's no traffic. Wherever you want to go, you go. If you want to go to a restaurant that's open, you're right in. There's no waiting. You could pick the last minute, go to a restaurant, and they are happy to see you. But usually most of the restaurants, you're either the only one there, you and your party. You know, I have a friend here as well, and so you're either the only one there, or there's maybe one other couple or a couple other people. But I have never been to anywhere yet so far that there's been more than 3 or 4 people in the establishment. So it's pretty lax of people, and that's good if you don't like people. You know, if you like people and you like watching people, maybe now's not the time to come to Thailand because there's just not a lot of people.
I used to hop over to the Far East quite a bit back in the earlier days with JBL, and used to fly in and out of Singapore a lot. Is Singapore as clamped down with restrictions these days, or what is that like?
You cannot get into Singapore. So
you can't get into it.
You can't even get in to Singapore. Wow. It's locked up. Most countries are locked up right now. So the better countries are all locked up. You can't go to China. I'm not saying that China is a better country, but I'm just saying that China is definitely locked up. You cannot get into China. I couldn't go to China if I wanted to right now, although I don't really want to. So it was a challenge to get here. So I had to fly from Las Vegas, to Dallas, which was a 4-hour flight. Then from Dallas, I went to Doha, which was a 14.5-hour flight. But the adjoining planes that would come into, so the connecting flights was late. And so I was on this plane for over 16 hours before I got to where we're going. And then we got to Doha. And if you've ever been to the Doha airport, you'll know, man, these people in Qatar really know how to build an airport. I mean, it's really, really nice. Super nice. Yeah. But the good thing was, because I spent the time on the plane, my layover time here was only like 4.5 hours instead of 6.5 hours. And then the flight from Doha to Phuket was 7 hours. So that's it. And here I am. It's they really have it down as a science. When you get to Phuket, you get off the plane. There's people in hazmat suits or similar hazmat suits. The first thing they do is take your temperature. They route everybody into the area that you would normally go through immigration, but now they have it where there are seats like 4 feet apart, not 6 feet apart, and everybody sits down. And they had an army of volunteers. They weren't all government people, I don't think. And they go through your papers, make sure that you have all the paperwork that you need. Then you go through to the government official who takes the paperwork, signs off on it. Then you go through immigration. Then you go through baggage claim. Then you go through customs. And then you go, as you're leaving the airport, that's when you get your COVID test, your first COVID test, which is outside, where normally there would be limo drivers holding your name up. Now that's the COVID test. Then once you get the COVID test, they put a little sticker on you saying that you've been COVID tested. Then you go to the next level where they send for your van driver. And if you're staying in a hotel, which is an SHA hotel for the Sandbox, you have to have your hotel pick you up. And then they take you to the hotel. You're quarantined here for 12 hours, but that really goes by fast, because when I got here at about 3, my test results were in at 9:15, and then I was free to travel. But I was exhausted, so I slept anyway. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And it's beautiful here. The weather is really nice. It's tropical. It's super tropical. It's a little humid, a little hot. But at nighttime, the balmy breezes. I'm right by the ocean. It's beautiful ocean. It's called Surin Beach, Surin, Surin Beach, and I really find it's very conducive to enjoyment. So
at the end of your 14 days or 12 days or whatever your quarantine is, then what? You test again, and
then I can go anywhere in the country that I want. Unfortunately, there's no real place to go. I mean, because this is the safest place in the country, because everyone here has been tested, retested. Everyone here is either vaccinated or very careful. Masks are everywhere. You can't go anywhere without a mask indoors once you get in there. And every place you go, they take your temperature as soon as you walk in. You can't even walk into a store or a mall, whatever, without someone taking your temperature. And by the time you get into the mall, if you go into 3 or 4 shops, your temperature has been taken about 6 times. So they're really very cognizant of the fact that they don't want to have a COVID outbreak, and yet they did have one with some locals that live here. So, I mean, they'll still not be able to get up to the 70% vaccination. And the other thing was, of course, they have the Sinovac vaccination, which is not proving to be very effective.
It's a Chinese one, right?
Yeah, that's the Chinese one. And they just announced that there's a possibility now that the vaccines that we have had were only going to be good, whether it's Pfizer or Moderna or whatever, it's only going to be good for like 7 months. And then you're going to have to get revaccinated. So either a booster, or I don't really know what their plans are as far as getting everybody revaccinated. But I would
I just heard that on the news here as well, about the Pfizer only being good for 7 months, and then it loses its effectiveness. And they're trying to figure out, should we get booster shots or what?
Well, I think a booster shot is going to be in order, and I'm ready to get my booster shot as soon as as soon as they say it's available. But you need to wait at least 6 months for it. But here, which is different than in the United States, if I want to get a Moderna shot, I can go to the Bangkok hospital and pay like $100 and get another shot if I wanted to. So it is available if you've got money. Unfortunately, that's how it works all over the world. Here in Thailand, in the third world country, basically, they make it easy for the rich to get away with whatever they want to get away with. You know, this country's got like I heard something like. Ridiculous amount of billionaires compared to the so few people that have money.
Interesting.
Anyway,
So I think Michael had a question. Michael, did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, it was just a silly one about, you know, if there's nobody there, then how are you going to do your menagerie?
Well, I'm not here for that. That's just it. You know, I'm not here for that. It's you know, it's I'm here to see if I could build up the South Asia business of SoundBroker.
He gets his kicks above the waistline, sunshine. Oh wait, that was in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, I'm going to refer to a previous episode of this where the menagerie from Star Trek was actually, you know, brought up.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, that was the episode was called The Menagerie, and yes, it's with Captain Pike. And yeah, basically here you feel, you know, here you feel much younger than you really are. There's the opportunities for you are just amazing, and so you know, look, I'm a single guy, and I've been single for a long, long time, and I met someone online back in early May, and we've been texting and chatting, you know, an awful lot, virtual reality, a lot. Somewhere between 3 and 4 hours every day. You know, I'll wake up, she'll wake up, we'll talk to one another. We'll have, you know, we've got to know each other quite well, and that's how I know about the Bangkok flights.
Mr. Fauci, I'm not sure that we agree that you're a single person, okay?
Oh, very good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, so, you know, and especially seeing this week, you know, in America, by the way, was National Tequila Day. You know, I just want you to know it was National Tequila Day. So I hope you guys celebrated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, I'm still, you know, I might be in Thailand, but I'm still following the news all over the world. You know,
John Elliott is all over it.
It's good to have everybody here today. I want to say, you know, at first I was a little bit nervous that nobody was going to show up because of the time change. So, you know, if anybody has anything they want to say, why don't we just go around the room and you know, fill everybody in.
I'm sorry to say I'm going to have to cut out. It's dinner time here, and I got to go get
Porter,
some.
what's going on down there in Nashville?
Bye. See you later. People going home.
Oh, I can't hear him. Can anybody else hear him? Or did I lose my volume?
Anybody there?
I got Ken. I got Ken.
There you
Pretty
go.
much tours going out. I got, you know,
I can't hear him. Could you hear him?
Stacks going out, a lot of shed tours.
I hear him.
Shed tours out. Jan doesn't love me anymore. Anyway, things going
Muted
on.
by
I got
host.
tour in town. King Crimson's in town. I got to run down tonight and see the boys and see how good they're doing, and just carrying on. It's hotter than.
I'm doing that Friday, Ken.
You gonna do King Crimson Friday?
Yeah, up at HEB and Will Rogers in Fort Worth.
Yep. I'll see how the show is. Hopefully
My
it's a
old
good
shop,
show.
my old shop did the they did the rehearsal. ESI here in Tampa for King Crimson. It was pretty cool. Tony Levin, the bass, you know, the famous bass player, he was posting shots of the interior and brought back memories of my days doing that with loading them in and out. And I'm on break. I'm going back to the amphitheater. We've got quite a few productions coming down the pike here at the Amphitheater Live Nation at the in Tampa Fairgrounds here. So I'm going back there. Yet tonight and load him out, and then we got 2 productions a week for the next month until festivals start in October. So grateful.
I was talking to Brown Note the other day, and they said that the end of this week, they will be at 81 shows in Red Rock since this year. How can you do that many shows in 3 months or whatever?
Well, I think it's a math question. You just have to divide it. That's it.
They got a new roof, I understand.
There was issues about whether they could take it up. They added more weight to it, but they couldn't change the height or something because of view lines to Denver and all that stuff. They didn't want to block certain things.
Yeah, they also have a new Marshall in town. I guess it sits in front of a SPL meter or screen. They've lowered the SPL sound pressure level, I guess, and a lot of people are grumbling about that.
What is their max? Do you know?
John, do you know, is that an average SPL or a peak SPL or what?
I'm not sure. I think it's averaging. I know ESI, the company I used to work for before the pandemic, they did they just had the one microphone on a tall boom stand, and they were averaging SPL, and the whole screen would turn red, if they, were bouncing up to 103, right around there.
Yeah, well, you know how to beat that game, though. I mean, you deliberately stay well below average, for parts of it, until you get to the end where you need that crescendo, and then you can go over because your average still stays where it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's ways around everything,
Yep.
Last time I was there, they had a multiple microphone sampling thing into the computer. You have multiple there, and it averages and shows you as you cumulative run along. Of course, they also had the issue too, is that some of the jam bands and stuff there had taken a sub at the mix position and ran it out of phase to trick the mic for that to lower the average and stuff there out of phase at the mix position right there where they're collecting. That's why they did the multiple channels and stuff there. But they have a pretty, multiple channel version looking at stuff now.
Yeah, I was just reading an article at back in the day with the Hollywood Bowl. Apparently, sound companies or the touring engineer, whatever the front of house guys, were supposed to run through their compressors and gates, and so they would run a signal to the compressor limiter gates, but bypass it. So I mean, it would look like the LEDs were showing compressor and limiting, but it wasn't doing anything with the front of house system. So yeah, there's all kinds of trickery. I really did dig the King Crimson show at the Ruthie at the in St. Petersburg. That kicked off. Yes, sir. Yep. I was amazed that they're still running that old D&B. Was it the C4s and the C4 subs? And
they have a C system down there. Yep.
It's 20 years old. I mean, I would think they'd have at least, when I heard D&B, I thought they'd have at least, the J8s or whatever, but no, they're running some old school stuff. I can pick up those cabinets, a whole PA of those, including the B2 subs for, 16 grand with the amps. And they've got.
I sold the system that last year for about 20, and it was like 70, 80 boxes.
Wow.
To buy in Louisville. But basically, I did like that with the old P1200 amps. They were analog.
Yep.
And that whole PA had a different sound. It was that English rock, late 80s, sound that sounded really great.
Well, they were actually running a Midas for front of house, a Midas Pro 9. Which
the The band,
Yeah, the
owns their
band.
Pro 9s and all that stuff. The band owns that mixed position.
Yep. And it was great talking. I forget the guy's name. I wasn't invited this year. They're trying to take care of the full timers at ESI, but it was great talking with them. I'm kind of leaning towards purchasing a desk myself, and everybody's saying go Digico. Dave Rat says, man, the support's great. So I'm really leaning hard, but I got no crystal ball. Are things really going to pick up? I got to have return on investment. So,
Well, the question is how quick and stuff there, because pretty much if you do something like in the Q series, if you can get into that Q225, that is a lot of bang for the buck. Yes, it only has 72 inputs to start with, but it will expand up eventually.
I did the Super Bowl here in Tampa for ATK. It was a union gig for me, and they were running all Digicos from in the rack room to the S22, S32s up to they had 5 SD5s, and Louis says the most versatile sound system mixing boards that I've worked with. They're just so very much versatile. So that's another reason.
It seems interesting to me that, I remember there was a period of time where Yamaha was the board of choice, and now is anybody using Yamahas at all?
Yeah, I just had one of Ken Porter's acts through on a Ravage.
Yeah.
Which act was it?
Midlands.
I've got 3 CL5s here at the arena and multiple of their installation units. They're all over the place. This computer sucks. It's at work.
Get a MacBook.
I'm the sound guy. I'm not supposed to sound right.
Yes. That's good, but you're looking good, George. So you look good, and that's that's what we say. It's always better to look good. Yeah, it seems to me that the 3 consoles that are the main choices right now are the Avid and not necessarily in this order, but the Avid and the Digico. Anybody hearing anything about that new Midas board that's coming out? The new Heritage board that's supposedly shipping now. It's probably on its way over here.
It is.
What is it
It's
called?
out
The
in a couple of
D90?
places. It's out in a couple of places, but not many are using it yet. I really have been looking at it kind of hard myself because of the price point and what I need it for. But right now, I mean, it's SXL, Ravage, and Digico. A little bit with a sprinkling of SSL in there.
And I get a few of the Allen and Heath people that ask me for Allen Heath, and that little bitty Avantis has become the opening act console choice right now.
So it's getting out of the church system and going into the opening act system?
Seems to be.
That's what I've heard as well, Jim. I'm sorry, Kenny, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I got to mix on an Advantix, so we got a couple of them at a church just recently, and I got to mix on one a couple of weeks ago. And I tell you what, that it's really easy to get a workflow together on them real quick, and they're pretty comfortable. They sound really nice. The mic pre's sound great, and it's really easy to get around on. And while I'm on this call, Kenny Porter, I haven't talked to you in a long time, but you still owe me a cow.
A cow?
You owe me a cow. This is back in the Phil days when he was starting this company up. There was a gentleman's bet that Ken Porter would buy me a cow if JBL did something right, and I don't know what we did right. It was a long time ago. Yeah. Anyway, but that Events board seems to be a very nice put together board, especially for the price point.
I've been trying to find one local to play with, and nobody ever seems to have them. To play with them.
Yeah, Bruce, you mentioned Chad at MasterMind. I hear that he's starting to get busy.
He's got some stuff going on. We were going to get together a couple times this month, and we've had to change the dates so damn many times. But he got a Rivage, and I was over there
Yep.
a couple weeks ago. You know, getting the lowdown, and man, what a sexy console that is! It's beautiful.
Did he get a 5 or what did he get?
I think it's a PM7 that I remember. But yeah, even came with 2 fans. You know, it was great.
Not a fan
And a
club.
coffee cup holder.
Yeah, really.
They had me right there.
Yeah, the
right.
R&R cases had all those beverage cups for their road cases.
Yeah, I actually texted him this morning. Gary and I are going over to his office on the 18th and 19th to play performance manager games because I don't get enough time on that. So, you know, I'm not usually backstage, and I'm so weak on performance manager. I need to update and then do it a couple more times, you know. I can design stuff with it, but the linking it into the amplifier thing just befoodles me every time.
You
know,
need
the
a
whole-
number for Nick
Bruce-
Bourne. Nick Bourne with our tour sound team can spend some one-on-one love time with you.
Yeah, that'd be
Uh,
great. I'd love to, even for nothing. I'd go out on somebody's gig and just help them build the backstage rig so I could get, you know, with them looking over my shoulder and telling me what to do. My problem is you could tell me 10 times until I do it 3 times, I'm not going to remember.
Well,
You know,
Human nature.
Bruce, one of the biggest things with that is instead of letting your system go DHCP, you know, where it picks all the addresses for the amplifiers and stuff, set hard addresses for your amplifiers that make sense.
right? And
You know
that's
what I
what
mean?
I've been
Absolutely.
told. But
And I'm
here's what
telling
I
you,
found, though.
once you do that, I mean, I've done that with all my Crown amps for years now, and they come up like that every time. No
Right,
problem.
but it's your system, and that's what Chad tells me. Chad says, you know, my stuff is easy because all my stuff is on the program and it's all racked correctly. You know, if I'm doing a corporate gig and I'm using some AV company's gear and they send me out like 3 racks, right? Well, half the time their amps don't even come up in racks on the thing, and you have to assemble them all. And oh my God, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to own this shit, then you better like hook it all up, and, you know, I'll send you a patch sheet or a system sheet and go through the stuff and make sure everything's talking to the computers and make sure everything's, you know, racked up right so that I don't spend, you know, 6 hours trying to get the damn thing to work. You know, that I waste so much time with that. And, you know, and trying to find a systems engineer that knows how to do it good too is a whole nother thing. I've had guys tell me, oh, I'll figure it out when I get there. No, you know, I've been burned twice on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that
Twice.
doesn't always work out so well. I did a system recently for the Virgin in Las Vegas, which, you know, they bought the old Hard Rock, and the Hard Rock we had done the Raul Gonzalez and I did the pool system there, and we just redid the a new pool system for the Virgin, and they sent a gentleman out that supposedly was world class, very up to speed on everything. And
That's what it said on the paper anyway, right?
well, yeah, it wasn't through us. And
Yeah.
apparently he was not familiar with PM or audio architect. And a hotel gig is a bad time and a bad place to try to learn somebody's platform.
I never
Uh,
have time to learn anything. You know what? They've taken most of our rehearsals away because nobody wants to pay. You know, if I can't get the rig set up in 10 hours and walk away, then I got problems because I'll be working on my own time at 11 at night trying to fix some bullshit that somebody didn't pay attention to in the shop, you know? And it's terrible. Companies got to hire real audio people to take care of their gear. If they're going to get into this world of fancy digital consoles and networked, you know, PA systems, they got to have somebody that knows how to work the stuff in the shop that can prepare the stuff to go out. Because, you know, it's just getting bad. AV companies are just a pain in my ass.
Well,
Yeah, I try really hard not to take anything out that I haven't gone to the shop and built myself.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
hear
you
you.
don't always get that time. I get it, man. You can come off one corporate gig, go straight into another, and never get that time.
Well,
So-
the other thing is too, my travel day is to the show. And if we're using somebody, I live in LA, right? So, like in the fall, I'm doing a gig in Orlando, and I'll be showing up, I'll be flying out, we'll be loading in the next morning, and we'll be getting all the gear locally. Now, the good thing is I think we're using Paradise in Florida, and Paradise's sound guys are on the ball, and he's usually my systems guy. So the stuff is going to work. But the problem is I'm not always that lucky.
Yeah. Hey, Jorge brought up a good point too that I wanted to see if any of you guys have heard about yet. I heard just last week that Music Tribe has decided to close down all of their distributors, resellers, and only sell through Sweetwater. Has anybody heard this?
It's not quite that bad, but it's close.
Been out for a while. They've done that like back in April.
Well, I just found out about it last week.
And it's not every Music Tribe product, but it's basically all the MI stuff is all going to be going through 2 or 3 or 4 master retailers. And that's what you're going to get. Professional lines, slightly different story, but I haven't got a real answer from anyone yet.
Most of the
I think
touring
there's other lines that are doing that too. I think as a matter of fact, Harman kind of like basically got rid of most of their dealers and went through a distribution system like that as well. And I believe Avid is now doing that as well. So
I read back in December in 2020 that Music Tribe was going to stop selling its products in most brick and mortar stores, and they were just going to focus on Sweetwater and Amazon.
They're doing direct stuff to, through Amazon, it's direct. But the other issue is where you're doing service, who knows anything about it? That's why most of the people are afraid of the new console, is because how do you know what it's going to be? A production manager says, I'm going to let it on a tour, but then if my engineer gets stuck and needs, call somebody to find out why it won't route to here, who do you call?
Yeah, because waiting on those guys to call you back and give you an answer. I had an issue 2 years ago that 24 hours later, they still hadn't called me back. And I sent them another email going, this is ridiculous, guys. Waiting 24 hours to get an answer. The show's already happened. You guys are full of crap. Oh, finally, then somebody called me within an hour. And I'm like, you're too late. I already fixed it.
Well, part of the problem now is that you're struggling to get parts and stuff now for 9s and Pro X's and all that stuff, even in Pro 2s. What are you going to do in a new one?
Yeah.
About 20 years ago, I had a problem on a show with a Yamaha console, and in 15 minutes they were back to me. And come to find out, we were interfacing some surround stuff to surround cards, and they had and the company I got the console from had sent me the wrong, the DB25 with the XLRs coming off of it. They sent me the wrong cables to make it work, and of course, the minute the right ones came in the door, everything worked. It was just ridiculous. But they got back to me like in 10 minutes. I couldn't believe it.
Well, there is some. I mean, if you look at Digico, they have phenomenal customer service. If anything goes wrong, there's somebody there right away. As far as on the phone, so does Avid. Avid has a tech support line that's 24/7. I believe Digico has it too as well. I'm not so sure about the rest, but I do know that those two definitely have good customer service. At least that's what I hear from my clients.
Avid has gone to the system more like what Music Tribe now has. They've been that way for a couple of years now. You're supposed to submit a thing online, and then somebody gets back to you.
Unless you
got a guy, unless you got a guy and you got their number in your phone. Not saying that I do, but
I'll give you that number. I'll give you that number because there is an 800 number that's the 24/7 tech support for Avid.
But I know where the guy lives that I can go find him.
Yeah, that's even better. That's even better.
That's one of the things about Yamaha and Digico. I mean, I've got both Yamaha guys' numbers, East Coast and West Coast, and I've known Digico for 100 years. So those ones are easy for me. But
Thaddeus is pretty amazing.
It's Titus.
I call him Thaddeus. I guess isn't that how he spells it though?
My guy's Matt Larson. I've known him since he was with Midas.
The overpriced, the best salesman in the world, Matt Larson.
That's it. He sells Eskimos, ice in the winter. That's it. That's what he's good. He's good. He's a good man. I like Matt a lot. So are we all getting busy? Is everybody now working a lot? Are shows starting to come back into your marketplace? And how are you guys affected with COVID and the shows?
We're just trickling here down in Central Florida. We're just trickling. There's some bones being thrown at us, but they're not much meat on those bones. But they're saying October. I've got some festivals coming up. That's usually my bread and butter in the summertime. It's where I make most of my money. Reggae Rise Up and Rib Fest and these other in Vinoy Park mainly. Some in Clearwater, home of the Scientology people. There's a nice little venue called Coachman Park, and so I'm looking forward to doing that. And this is one of the shows I did there, John Legend. But things are just slow coming into it. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's coming back, but it's kind of giving me some anxiety here in Florida, at least."
Mm-hmm. Well, George, you're over at the American Airlines arena. Is that correct? Just what's going on over there? How are things going with that? And last time you were on the panel here, you mentioned something about they were using dogs to check for COVID. Is anything going on with that?
All that has stopped. You guys hear me all right? Because
we hear you fine.
Microphone issue here. All that is gone. The last home game we had here of the regular season. I think it was a playoff. We were full house, which was about 17,000 people. They just had certain area for people that were vaccinated. Everybody had to wear a mask regardless. But now that we're all doing in maintenance mode and things like that. But we did 5 weeks of kids basketball camp. We had easily like 100 kids each day coming in here. And everything was, normal in that case. But we've got, I think August has like one concert, but October is loaded and some preseason games. So this place, as of right now, is still going to continue to be full house, unless something changes, obviously, because this is flux.
Well, I hear right now that you're having a little bit of challenges and with the virus, and I hear even now your governor is starting to say, "Hey, let's get vaccinated," which is pretty interesting.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I
about
actually
time,
have
right?
a couple of people from in very close to my department have been gone for 2 weeks. They contracted and they've been home and they can't come back, and they still haven't been feeling well. So this is actually longer than the 2 weeks that what everybody was supposed to do the first time around with the first coronavirus. So they're still feeling it.
Yeah.
So this is a situation that I'm not a doctor.
Now it's kind of interesting because I just read that Eric Clapton announced his tour, and he is going to boycott any arena or any stadium that requires either vaccination proof or masks. Has anybody heard anything like that?
Yeah, he's announced it, and so.
I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
I won't be working there.
Yeah, right.
Not me. I won't be working.
Forget it.
Mm-mm.
No,
Nope.
not at all.
That's an unrealistic
Expectation.
demand on his part, as far as I'm concerned.
Whereas the Stones just announced that they're going out on tour, and I guess that's the big. I mean, I guess the Stones are the big dog of our industry. Would you guys agree with that, or would you say maybe? I mean, if they're not the big dog, they're one of the big dogs for sure.
They're coming down here to my old venue at the stadium here, the Buccaneers Stadium. I've done quite a few big productions there. Are they requiring vaccinations, or has anybody heard vaccinations?
I heard that they were going to be requiring. I heard they were going to be requiring masks. I don't know about the vaccinations, but I know that they're doing St. Louis, so that'll be in Tim's Marketplace. They're doing Austin, Texas on November 20th, and then they'll do Nashville, the Nissan Stadium, and Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So I mean, they're going out towards the end of the year. I guess isn't it cold down in Nashville in November?
Could be. It could be a cool night.
So they're out there touring. So the big tours are now starting to come back. Garth Brooks is selling out everywhere he goes, right? So isn't that affecting the smaller tours as well? Wouldn't we see more and more shows come out? Like, for example, I'm hearing right now that New York City's having their Central Park concert. They just added Andrea Bocelli, Kate Brown, and they will all require everybody to be vaccinated in order for them to come. But I mean, it's pretty cool. They've got LL Cool J and Andrea Bocelli, the Elvis Costello, Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, those are a lot of different acts that they're going to be coming to the park. Paul Simon, Jennifer Hudson, so I would say that if these people are going out and playing, I'm sure they're not just doing one-offs. Or are they? Nobody knows. Or won't.
Well, part of the thing right now too, change the subject a little bit, is that there's a question right now on tours that are selling, new tickets instead of holdover tickets, and how they're doing. And if they're the ones that are doing that, they're questioning about the requiring that it have to be show proof of vaccination and no unvaccinated people in there. There's a question of how it's selling, because some of them are only sitting at 30% sales, and they're having questions of whether they're going to be able to get sales or not, or whether they're going to do a third or a half house shows on sale. And there's questions in production about whether it's going to pay to go out or not, whether the tour might cancel or drop those dates that won't sell and those requests, because of the request. There's just questions of what's going to sell and how it's going to sell and what are reasons it's not selling. The other thing we've been noticing, a couple other tour stuff, is that most of the tours in the fall season schedule is a lot of people going out doing shed outdoor stuff there, in what arena dates are a holdover or a pickup at the end of a shed run. But most of the tours that are going out right now are coming in mid to end of October at the end of the shed season. And it's not really a tour startup that's a full-fledged fall arena tour that's going out 1st of September and staying out to December. So everybody's still a little cautious of what's going to do. And the things that I keep looking at is on my schedule and all the stuff in my books is it going to stick the whole time that they say they're going to stay out, or is it going to get out there, do 3 or 4 weeks and then pull the plug on it?
Well, nobody knows about that. I mean, also Steely Dan is going out in October, November as well, and they're doing an East Coast tour. So that's been announced. So it seems to me that the industry is starting to come back, but is it coming back? That's the question. Yeah.
How long will it stay back? The rates are going through the sky in Florida, and Steely Dan's coming down for residency down on Miami Beach, and that's a controllable situation. But as far as keeping everybody healthy, and I think that we need to get more people vaccinated still. They're trying to be cautious. Everybody's wearing masks inside venues. I'm up here in New Hampshire, and the vaccination rate is much higher here than anywhere in the South, and it's wonderful. I mean, the players all show up and they have to show proof of vaccination in order to play, and the audience all wears masks, and it's a lot safer situation. So we just finished this Rolling Loud down in Miami, and it's a huge event, and but unfortunately the infection rates, I got one of my best friends in the hospital on a ventilator right now. It's not under control. So I hope things hope people stick with the program and we can all keep working.
Well, there are a few governors right now. The governor from Alabama, Kay Hutchinson, I think her name is. And I'm not 100% sure what her last name is, but she came out and said basically, hey, you guys that are not getting vaccinated right now, you're killing people. You got to get vaccinated.
And that's a bit of stunning hypocrisy on her part as well, because she's also signed legislation that prevents proof of vaccine requirements. Prevents local governments from having their own rules, specifically also laws passed by the legislature that say that kids can't be forced to wear masks in school. So pretty much it's, like I say, stunning hypocrisy.
Yeah, well, we got the same thing in Florida with DeSantis. Exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
DeSantis has that questionable thing of, gee, why do you want to kill your constituents when you're going to plan to run for president? Just wondering.
He's saying, oh my God, they want to muzzle my kids at my 3-year-old kid. My 3-year-old kid, well, he's not in school yet. Why would he be muzzled with a mask? Oh my God.
Well, that's obviously for someone who remembers the terrible twos and the need for a different kind of muzzle.
Yeah, they're called viral vampires at that age. That's what we used to refer to. Hey, Jan Landy, I have to hop onto a 4:00 meeting that just started. I need to show up before I get in too much trouble. Good seeing you guys. We'll see you back here soon.
Jay, I hope you enjoyed yourself, everybody. I hope I hope everybody's enjoying themselves, having fun, and mingling with people that you haven't seen in a while, and other people that are on the same level of the industry that we are. So it's cool.
Yeah, I gotta hop in the shower, shave to do the loadout. So Dave Matthews. So y'all have a good evening.
Well, that's very good. I'm glad that there's so many of us are working, and this is just one of those things that I really appreciate you letting me come into your lives and offer this time. It's the highlight of my week. I mean, I got up at 3:00 in the morning to make sure that this would happen here in Thailand. So there you go.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's getting light right now, and I can't show you the background. But if we stick around, you'll see the background. It's really amazing. You can't see it yet. It's still not light enough here. It's only 6:00 in the morning. So anyway, but yeah.
Have fun, everybody.
Did we have a joke of the day?
I don't. The joke of the day is I'm in Thailand.
Yeah, and since he moved the curtains, when he had the curtains, I kept waiting for him to hold up a newspaper.
Yes, behind the curtain. Let's see if I open them. Let's see what happens if I open the windows. Can you?
For him to just hold the newspaper and read some script.
I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I move my chair. Can you see out there? Well, you can hear it. There's a lagoon out there. It's like a big lake with big palm trees. It's really cool.
You're at Universal Studios.
But we'll see. We'll wait for the sun. For those people maybe next week we'll have something. Or if you want to go to my Facebook page, I'll put up some pictures of what it really looks like. But it's really amazing here. I can't recommend going to Thailand and Phuket as much as as it is. Anyway, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's let the people on YouTube and Facebook, go back to their way of life. We'll just keep the room open and we'll just talk about whatever we want. Just remember, you make it happen. We're going to do it again every Wednesday at 3:00 now, Las Vegas time, 6:00 on the East Coast time, Mountain time. You know where you're at. So remember, everything you heard today is an opinion. Do your own research to make sure that the facts that you get are accurate. And with that in mind, thanks for watching. And remember, you could be part of the panel too. Just got to send me an email to SoundBroker@gmail, or go up on the Facebook page and say, hey, send me a link, and we'll send you a link to be registered. With that in mind, have a great week for those people out there on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, we'll be talking about you right now. So we're going to say goodbye to these people, and we're going to stay in the